Hey everybody, Joe Costello here, WFO Radio. We've got a very special moment here for you as great friend of WFO since the very beginning, the absolute beginning. Bobby Bennett from Competition Plus released his story just a couple of days ago on competitionplus.com about not being invincible and what it is like dealing with COVID-19. I think a lot of us have been kind of reevaluating the situation in that there is now a face, a friend, someone we know, someone who's tough, someone who's strong, who has gotten this virus, and it makes it real. Well, Bobby has been going through a real tough time, but he has made some time for us today, and so let's get right to him. Joining us now, Bobby Bennett from Competition Plus. Bobby, first of all, how are you feeling?
Each day I get a little bit better, Joe. It's been a battle. You know, I certainly did not want to. I was kind of hoping to be the poster boy for good looks, but instead I guess I ended up with the poster boy status for COVID-19. Go figure.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you still have your sense of humor and that Bobby is still Bobby. Now, there's a million questions that I'm sure everyone has, much of which, how and where. All of that is covered in the story on competitionplus.com. And the story, everybody, it's on. We've shared it. It's called "Go Ahead and Think You're Invincible." But basically, you were at a drag race. You were at the March meet in Bakersfield, and so somewhere in that travel, and you don't even know where because you can have it for a couple days and not have any symptoms. But that's where you picked it up along the road.
Yeah, I seem to think, and I fully believe in my heart, I picked it up on the flight home somewhere. From there, I really don't believe I caught it at the racetrack. I do believe I caught it on the flight home.
I can imagine, but let's do some things for people that I think they will find interesting in that you make it real, Bobby. There's all kinds of news out there, and nobody knows who to trust in our modern world. We know that we go on our Facebook pages, and there's a lot of stories and a lot of news, and maybe 50%, maybe more, are not correct or deliberately not correct. Like, we just don't know anymore. And regardless of, who you are or what you think, there's all kinds of misinformation out there. So you're the real information. How did you first feel when you started to feel like, maybe I've got something going on?
Well, I got back. I caught the red-eye flight back from L.A. I got home Monday and went to work and starting to prepare for Gainesville. Got on the way down to Gainesville and about an hour and a half down the freeway, turned around and came back home because, of course, the event had been postponed. But Friday I was working and I started to feel a little bit down on power. I kept telling my wife, I said, I'm just not feeling like I have any energy here. I don't feel me. I must be coming down with a, bronchitis or something. So I try to be proactive in I don't like sitting around for 14 days being sick. So I went to the local urgent care, and they diagnosed me as having a sinus infection, which at the time that seemed kind of real, and they gave me some antibiotics. Well, I went through the whole antibiotics, and I kept getting worse and worse, and by the end of the week, I started running fevers, and I'm like, wow, this is some serious stuff, and sorry, I can't breathe like I used to.
No, I understand, and take as much time as you want. We are thrilled that you are even, honestly, everyone needs to know it's Friday morning, and Bobby and I have texted and emailed back and forth just like, oh my goodness, are you okay? And I said, hey, whenever you're ready. And Bobby, I honestly didn't expect you'd be ready this early, but the sooner we talk about this, I'm hoping more of our friends and colleagues will get on the right page, right? Not that they're all not, but a lot of them aren't. As you wrote the story, like you're addressing the story to our drag racing family.
I really didn't even want to write the story. I wanted, because this had knocked me down to nothing. When you feel like you have been knocked down to the lowest of low. I've had stomach viruses for days. I've had pneumonia, and all those things are just, you know, the sniffles compared to what I've went through here. And I'm not looking for sympathy, not at all. I just want people to listen and let them know that there's a monster out there, and it's lurking, and it's lurking. And if you don't defend yourself and take care of yourself, it will attack you, and it will not let up. And you will lay in your bed, and you'll want to die. You'll want to die either by God taking you home or at your own hands. That's the God's honest truth. I love my family. I love my God. I love my sport. I love my friends. But this had knocked me down so much to the point that I wanted to die. I did not want to live. And my wife, she told me, God bless her, she's an angel. She told me, she said, you got to fight for us. We can't make it without you. We can't live without you. And at that point, I determined I can't give up. I mean, one moment, you get sick at both ends. You're running a fever. Your body aches. You can't even breathe. And for anybody to say this is a hoax or something fake, I don't know what to tell you. And I don't need the attention. I get plenty enough attention in drag racing. And I even saw on Facebook one day, somebody said, somebody had posted my story, and somebody said fake news, and that's a word I detest. I detest the word fake news because it means to deliberately deceive others. But sometimes journalists make mistakes. That doesn't make it fake news, but regardless, and back on my point, I told that person, I responded in a rare response. I said, anytime you want to come over here and let me cough or breathe on you or sneeze on you, you're more than welcome to come find out for yourself if it's fake news. Of course, everybody gave me the post of the decade on the internet. I won the internet for the day, so I don't know if that gives any prize or anything, but I won the internet for at least one day.
Well, I think that it's such a tough situation. It's tough to think about you having to deal with this and contemplating life and death because of, pain or breathing issues or just suffering. And there are still people that, and we'll never change their minds, Bobby. That's the thing. It's like if that's where their head is at right now, that you're never going to change their minds. They're sitting behind a keyboard. They're sitting in a house. They're talking about going out. They're talking about, I've seen people posting about how they want to forget this. Let's go racing, and I think it's a very serious time, and you're doing such a great job of helping the people who are reasonable to understand that they should take this very seriously and do what they're told.
Joe, I got news for you. If we begin massing and we begin gathering and we don't have a cure for this, you remember what I said, that monster's out there. That monster is out there. And if we don't have a cure for it, we're opening ourselves up for more of the same again.
Yeah.
That's not being political. That's not being anything. That's just being somebody who knows what this monster will do to you.
Hearing you like this, Bobby, I'm sure it's challenging for the audience out there because you're always you're so full of energy and positivity. And even when you are calling someone, like calling someone out or bringing the heat, you're doing it in a positive, uplifting, and with love. and to hear you and going through a situation like this is very, I'm sure, very tough, but eye-opening. But you did turn the corner, and you are able to talk with us like this. You are in a better place now. How is your recovery? Like, slow, but getting better?
Yes, yes. Each day gets better. I am still in isolation. I live at one end of the house, and the wife and kids live at the other end of the house. We have followed all the proper procedures and precautions. Even the hospital, they said, for the fact that your kids and your wife have not gotten this is a testament to the procedures that you and your family have put in place to make sure that they are protected. Because I tell you, I couldn't live with myself if one of my kids or my family got this.
Absolutely. And, later today, we're going to release some audio with Dr. Phil Surface. And prior to us speaking now, we speculated, NHRA they get the worst rap always, right? Whatever it is, that there's a good 40% that are just constantly. Imagine if they had run the race. We would have all interacted with you. We would have given you hugs, and we would have, said what's up, and who knows what would have happened had they not canceled that race.
I praise God. I don't push my religion on anybody. I know who my Savior is, and I know that I could not have made it because I spent a lot of time speaking with Him. When you're in a room all by yourself and don't even feel like turning the TV on, and you're just laying there staring at the wall, you have time to reflect and do those kinds of things. You realize what's really important in life, and my life will never be the same from this point on. I might bring the heat, but I might not bring the heat in the same way.
Bobby, I don't want to put you through much more of this. What you have done already has been so helpful because, again, not only are you you're a face that we know, you're a trusted voice, you're someone that we care about, and you are telling us the absolute a situation that we could never possibly imagine. So thank you for that. Any final thoughts for everybody out there?
I just want to help save lives. I don't want anybody to have to go through what I went through. I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. I wouldn't wish it at all. It's beyond anything. And I have to tell you, I went to a hospital and they sent me home with a fever after 2 hours and said, "Don't call us, we'll call you," basically. And I laid in this bed day after day with fever. It was like a train. You knew what time the old Cannonball Express was coming. It's coming about 4 o'clock every afternoon. That's when the temperature would start ramping up there. And you'd go delirious for a while. And finally, when I thought this would be the last day that I live. And after my wife had told me that, I called my friend Ian, and Ian knows a lot of people in the medical industry, and immediately he got on the phone with DHEC, who said, "Get this guy to the hospital and get him there now." We drove 35 miles to a hospital, Prisma Health, where they took me in, and the first thing they began to do was combat the fever and bring it down. My blood sugar from having diabetes had gotten out of whack real bad, almost 300. And they started getting me in, and after about 3-4 days, they came to me and says, "Well, you've been 3 days now without a fever. We're gonna send you home." And I said, "You don't even know what's wrong with me." They said, "We can figure it's the COVID-19. I said, "So you're guessing and then sending me home?" And they said, "You'll be fine. You're on the back end of this thing." And I really was upset at first, and I said, how are you sending me home? And they were like, there are people that are worse than you. And then I remembered what I'd been through, and I said, you know what? They need this more than me. And so I'm on the way home, and I get a call from the first hospital. It says, we just wanted to let you know you tested positive for the COVID-19. And I'm like, wow. And then I get home, and then I got a call from the hospital I'd been in. Oh, you tested positive for COVID-19. So I guess I got diagnosed twice in two different hospitals.
Wow.
So I guess there was no denying that it was. And
Don't worry about that, by the way. Don't go using energy. Don't worry about that phone call. Don't use energy if you're like reaching across or whatever. Don't worry about that, Bobby.
No, I'm fine. It's just there's probably my insurance has lapsed. Not insurance, but my warranty's lapsed on my car again. My last call for about 58 times.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, I get hundreds of those.
Yeah, even in deathbed, they'll call you about your warranty on your car. But sorry, just from that point on, I was the first person in that Prisma Health hospital to be diagnosed with COVID-19. I didn't really get a prize. I guess you get a prize like the New Year's baby does or anything like that, but it is what it is. But Joe, thank you. And just race fans, just please take care of yourself. Understand that monster's out there, but you can beat that monster by doing the right things.
Stay home, wash your hands, stay physically distant with people. Don't, disregard, like so many have, what people are saying, like those spring break kids out on the beach, just disregarding all bad ideas. Bobby, thank you so much. We're with you, bud. Love you. Thank you for all you have done. Happy that you are going to be able to come out of this, but take it easy, man. Take it easy. Drag racing will be there. We hope to be back at some point, but I think everybody needs to get on the same page and realize this is very serious. This is not, like you said, it's not a made-up thing, and it's not like a toughness thing. You can't out-tough this, and that's what you've done here today. Thank you for trusting us with this.
Joe, I love drag racing, but until I know we've got a cure for this, don't know when the next drag race will be out. It'll be.
Bobby, thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate you, and I appreciate you taking the time here.
Thank you. Are we off air?
Bobby Bennett from CompetitionPlus.com, a great friend, and now in the fight of his life, fortunately on the other side of it, as he says. And you could hear Bobby ask if we were off the air. This interview happened Friday morning. And I had been texting with Bobby about just, thank you for speaking truth in our community of racers where, let's face it, toughness and, going to work when you're sick and not complaining is a big part of who we are and what we do. And being honest and sharing what was going on. And I asked him, I said, hey, whenever you're ready, I think I would love to speak with you as you have so many times in the past. And he called me Friday morning. He called me unexpectedly, and we did that interview. And so, we are very fortunate that this did not take a terrible turn, that the Gator Nationals were called off, and that Bobby was able to go get treatment, and he's able to tell his story. You, the WFO radio listeners, not every drag racing fan listens to this podcast. Not every drag racing fan knows about this podcast. There are plenty of people that they don't go as deeply into the sport as you guys. Thank you for listening to this one. And hopefully you will take the words that Bobby just spoke very seriously and also help combat those who are not taking it seriously, because that is as much of a problem. It's got to be taken seriously. You can't have 40% of the people blowing it off because it's no big deal. And that's what we've experienced. I certainly have experienced it. Now, maybe the worst is on Facebook. But I'm seeing all kinds of stuff that is just sad. And you can't fight every post on Facebook. You just can't. So share the interview. Let him hear Bobby. Let him speak. And all the best to you and your families. All the best to all of us. I can't wait till the day that comes that we're able to enjoy regular life in America. I'm looking forward to that day, and I want it to come as soon as is possible based on the health and medical situation. I don't think it's a good idea to force that. What I think is a good idea doesn't even matter right now. I am just ready to comply, and I think that we should all be like that. Listen to the medical experts, ready to comply. What do they say to do? Do it. Comply. That's going to do it. Thank you very much, all you WFO radio listeners, everybody that's listening to this show. We appreciate you. We've had good shows, archive, all that. Friday, we've done some things that have been up-tempo on Friday, but I think that today belongs to Bobby Bennett. So thank you so much. Thanks to Bobby. Thanks to Comp Plus, and thanks to all of you listeners. Be